What is happening? Welcome back to the Past Alive. Thank you all for tuning in for another episode of the weekend, or actually weekend recap. A little bit off there. Needle in a WaxStack, the monthly series where I rip open old boxes, searching for rare cards. In this particular box, we have 92 Classic Best. We are looking for several different autographs, including Nolan Ryan, Griffey Jr., and also Mike Schmidt. 14,000 autographs went into this particular product, and they made 20,000 cases of it. So it was a relatively lower number than other releases around this time. But these boxes are pretty cheap. I actually picked this up recently for about 20 bucks on Facebook Marketplace. There's a guy that had a bunch of older boxes. And I don't really see the jumbo boxes too often, so I decided to grab this one and a couple other ones. But inside of here, we have, I believe, it looks like 23 cards per pack, one bonus per pack. There was red and blue parallels. You see on the side here, we have Griffey, we have Nolan Ryan, and even a possible Carlos Delgado autograph. So Mike Schmidt, I think, signed over 4,000 autographs. That's just one of the ones we're looking for. So relatively inexpensive box to pick up and chase down some of these elusive and rare autographs. Back in the 90s, that wasn't really a thing as compared to today, where it's so easy to pull autographs. But a bunch of fat packs in here. There's a couple more disappointing autographs. I hope we don't really see like Royce Clayton. It's a potential autograph pull. Brian Taylor back in the day would have been the big one. But let's get to ripping, see if we can possibly find some of these, or one of these elusive cards. 400 card set. The last 50 cards actually were exclusive to the factory sets and featured a Derek Jeter along in there. Probably see a bunch of cringe-worthy names, I'm sure. So it'll be a relatively quick rip, but these are one per jumbo pack. We have Mike Kelly starting out. Mr. Cases, there seems to be none or more of that stuff in his area than mine. Robert Mejia, there's Brandon Wilson, Brett Donovan. Tango Victor, what's happening, man? Brian Griffiths. So you're going to see a lot of names. And pretty fun photo there. Daryl Sherman. Sean Green is definitely a prominent name. Chipper Jones also has a card in this release. And does Bill Van Landingham, Marcus Moore, Curtis Pride. I remember being pumped on him temporarily way back then. Sean Bryant. So a pretty basic design, but could definitely find some nice names hidden out among this. It's been a while since I've opened these. I want to say I've opened maybe like one or two boxes of this in different videos. And I think there was one in particular I opened like 4 boxes that I got somewhere. Cliff Floyd, definitely a more prominent name. This is a red parallel. Piazza also has a potential card in this. I'm not going to go too fast so you can see some of these names that you've never heard before. Brian Barber, definitely remember him. All he mentions wasn't Curtis Pride deaf. He definitely was. Charles Bubba Smith. Brett Donovan again. We may be putting some guys on the Omen list tonight. Brother Jason, I have the set complete except for the Jeter. Yeah, the last 50 cards along the Jeter are exclusive to factory sets. There's Sean Green once again. Ripping for Ripkins in the house. What is happening? Paul L. and everybody else, thank you for joining. Brad Erdman. Very intimidating game face on there. Cliff Floyd, the best card of that pack. And what do we have in the back of this? Look for these 20 bonus cards, one per pack. CC. Possible Nolan Ryan, Griffey, Piazza. We found the Floyd already. Chipper Jones also has one of these foil cards. Javi Lopez. Paul says, wasn't the 4-box one 1991? Maybe it was, Paul. The director of records would know better than anybody else. Fat arm kicks the camera. There's Javi Lopez, as we called him back then. J.B. Lopes. Rob Nen. We used to hate him as a kid. Hated his guts, actually. James Bishop. Alan Watson, definitely was stoked on him in the 90s briefly. Around 93, I'd say. Ugeth Urbina. There's Cliff Floyd, the regular paper. Mike Matheny. Manny Cervantes. Is this the JB Lips? I think that's a 91, Corey. I think so. I can't quite remember. I feel like I get 91 and 92 mixed up for this release. But there's Aaron Seeley, definitely PC'd him back around this time. Well, didn't have that one ever, though. BC 11. Been pretty stoked to pull that one. Jason Schmidt, a more prominent name. Who got there being thrown gas. Ricky Metallico. But it's a cheap box you can buy and potentially pull some of these big name rookies. Like I said, it's, possible Ryan autograph, Griffey, Schmidt. Can't go wrong for $20. Chris Guys, looking like some sort of serial killer. And Steve Dixon. Is that guy grabbing his crotch? Like I said, even the regular box of these you can get for pretty dirt cheap. So I saw a box for $20. I'm like, I'm definitely going to rip that for this series. There's Frankie Rodriguez. Scott Stahoviak. A name that I was never really pumped on as a kid. Dan Smith. There's Kiki Jones. Bobby Munoz. Troy O'Leary. There's Ben Blomdahl, if you guys know Donald Blomdahl, Hall of Fame Sports Cards Association, who's sometimes around. He's got his own channel. It's actually like is it his nephew, I think? Ben Blomdahl. I don't know if you ever played the majors. Willie Green. Larry Lovers. Something out of Leisure Suit Larry. So ripping right along, the best card we've seen so far, probably that Cliff Floyd parallel, I would say. And look at that. We got the Nolan Ryan parallel. The red. That's pretty sick. Like that one. BC1. Brian Brooks is actually really clean-looking cards. I hated Classic as a kid, but appreciating them a little bit more as an adult. Yeah, I was definitely the same way because they weren't listed in Beckett, so I absolutely freaking hated them. But Nolan Ryan, parallel, the best one we've seen so far, as Paul L. demands a Mike Walkden sighting. And there he is. Could never forget about Walkden. Another Nolan Ryan in here. That's pretty sick. And what is this? The best cards in the box are the same pack. So there's Mike Schmidt. That is the card, the autograph. Nolan Ryan, Schmidt, and Griffey all together. That's pretty sick. And Brian Taylor. That's a hot pack. Holy crap. Yeah, people are going nuts over Brian Taylor cards back in '92. It's a shame what became of him. And Tate Seafried. Steve Carsey, another name you may be familiar with from the '90s. Mark Smith and Damon Buford. So that's a pretty epic pack, I must say. Mud Flaps is super fire. That definitely was a fire pack. Hopefully we can find other cool stuff in here. Paul said, I feel like I remember that collation from the last box we did a few years ago. It's definitely like ringing a bell too. David McCarty parallel now. Rondell White was super pumped on him back in the early '90s. There's Bill Van Landingham. They went with Billy on this card. As major league releases, it was William. Jason Beret, another name I was really, really stoked on in the '90s. Not for all that long. Homer Bush. And it's funny we see him because Paul, in case anyone forgot, I'm sure Paul did not. I bought that random collection a while back, and it had a Homer Bush autograph in it. And of course, it's sitting right next to me. Manny Cora, Joey Hamilton, another name I'm familiar with from back then, Brad Ausmus, and Mark Hutton. Ends that pack. So we've seen like probably the best names out of here. We're still looking for a Piazza parallel. There's Mark Hutton again. Paul L says, I would never forget William, parentheses, Billy Bliss. Doesn't really sound like a major league player's name. It sounds like something else. Jason Schmidt, Metallico, Joe Gilmore, Eduardo Perez. Remember him playing too. Bobby Jones had some good years. Mr. Case, I have 2 Brian Taylor prospect cards. I forgot Jim Evans was in the set. That's pretty cool. It's a good one. And there's Piazza. So it's not a bad set. You definitely got some nice names in here. Scott Ruffcorn. I feel like there's a lot of classic best from the early '90s that just like absolute doo-doo. Jason Schmidt without a fat head. Wally Moon says. So Definitely got some good ones in here. If they didn't put Griffey and Piazza and Nolan Ryan, it wouldn't have been as good as a release. Shane Andrews, where's Karros? Yeah, he should definitely be in here. Midray Cummings, another guy I was stoked on back then for the Buccos. Billy Ashley shows up. Always had Billy Ashley in my Tony 2 team. And he was awesome, but he was always getting hurt. Andy Pettit also in here. Another nice name there. Rob Nen, Troy Hughes, and Chipper Jones. So I should be making a stack of all these. Scott Bullitt was another Pirates prospect. Steve Cook. And Brian Lane. Leo sees his Jeter in this. Jeter was in the factory set. He was in one of the last 50 cards. So there's 400 cards possible in this, and the last 50 were exclusive to factory sets. And look at that, we got the Griffey parallel. It's pretty sick too. The Griffey red parallel, BC 12. Very nice. Griffey and Nolan Ryan both. No sign of any autographs yet though. There's Edmonds once again. Greg Hansel, Piazza. I think we've seen all the big names now. Gar Finvold, definitely a fake name there. Greg Blosser and Jason Alstead. Is William Pennyfeather in here? I think William Pennyfeather was definitely in the line drive set in 91 or 92. Most definitely. Wally Moon's Unibrow says Pirates actually try to convince their fans Midray Cummings will be, be a very false replacement. Wally Moon, thank you for that. Yeah, I was probably definitely pumped on that. And speaking of him, there he is. He has a foil card as well. BC13. What were they thinking? Is what I want to know. Tyler Green, Mike Lieberthal, Ron Lockett. Out of all of these players, I was probably stoked on 75% of them. John Kelly, that commendable scraggly mullet poking out there. There's a checklist card. Fidel Comprés. Desi Relaford, and a lot of guys that did not make the big leagues in here. Frankie Rodriguez. Ron Lockett in your pocket. So we have what? 3, 6. We got 9 packs left. Was that Ray Finkel? I've seen a couple guys in here so far that look like Ray Finkel. No doubt about it. Solomon Torres starts it off. The parallel. And 2 of those in that pack. Roberto Pettigene. There's Brian Hunter. Garrett Anderson also in here. Another decent name as well. So not too bad. There's Pokey Reese. Don Sparks. Shane Andrews again. Gary Himmel ends that pack. He also picked up 2 boxes of 92 score jumbo. They're Series 1 looking for the DiMaggio autograph. The guys' prices were definitely pretty good. He had a bunch of different wax. So I'm always looking for stuff for this series. There's Brian Taylor parallel now. God is great. What is happening, man? It says hello from the Rising Sun, Japan. Thank you for being here. No sign of the Delgado yet, but he does have an autograph that's possibly tucked away in here. The Schmidt autograph, I looked on eBay. There's one on there right now for like $50 plus shipping, but typically they're around like 75 to 100 raw. Which most people probably say, well, why not just buy the Schmidt autograph instead of buy boxes of this? But for me, it's all about the fun of actually pulling the card. Can't replicate that feeling with clicking buy it now and getting something sent to your house. So there's a Piazza parallel now. Very nice. First time seeing that one. So that's him doing pretty good with this box so far. Scott Simmons looking super dorky. Those photos were taken back to back to back. Takes a stand on the tape. And there's Dimitri Young. I'm sure Wally Moon has something to say about that. Butch Husky. I know who would like that Butch Husky card. Jason Townley looks incredibly too old to be playing in the minor leagues. Fran Dovina had his time in the majors. Roberto Mejia and Brennan Wilson's that back. The new Holy Trinity. That's definitely super weird. They should put one auto in every box. That would have been awesome. That would have been awesome indeed. Krusty says that a yearbook. Yeah, so we have another Trinity there. 2 different run autos in here. One limited to 3,100 and one limited to 250 according to TCDB. You know, I saw that too. Scott Ruffcorn. So you really can't beat it to buy a box of these for 20 bucks or whatever. To look for like a Ryan autograph, Griffey, Schmidt. I know it's not, maybe not as desirable as, what the hell? As like pulling DiMaggio or Mantle, you know, or any of those from score releases. But why is there so many freaking checklists in a row? They just literally bombard them in there. What is with that? If I was a kid and I bought that pack from a store, I'd been freaking furious. A quarter of the pack is checklists. There's Brent Gates. Hugh Walker, Javi Lopez. Yeah, so the Javi Lopez Air is in the year before that. Checklist Hot Box. Criterium Racer. Lee, what is happening, man? Good to see you in here, man. Thank you very much for that. If Corey could post a link, there's a link for Criterium Racer right there. Just made a video a couple days ago. I added an extra into your package, Lee. I don't know if you got it yet or not, but I was hoping it's something you didn't have. Something you might like for your PC. There's Scott Bullitt. Paul L says John would have demanded as a child that Toys R Us gave him his money back. Oh, that's great. Yeah, honestly, it looks like yak packs with that, all those checklists in there, all the propaganda pieces falling out everywhere. Tyrone Hill. Let's see if we can find. There's Bobby Abreu also tucked away in here. So Tony Womack was definitely stoked on him at one point. Manny Alexander spent time in the majors as well. Aaron Seeley, the Lynchburg Red Sox, and Reed Cornelius, who always creeped me the hell out. He definitely had a card, I want to say it was 91 Bowman, where he looked like an albino, and it was a weird card. I'm pretty sure it was 91 Bowman. We got 4 packs left. Toys R Us have signs everywhere in the store about not being able to return anything now. Do they really? Wally Moon says Tony Womack ended up having a nice career. He definitely did. Chipper Jones parallel shows up now, the red one. Very nice. We'll take it. Jorge Fabregas. Yeah, so far, I think we got a pretty good box here. Cliff Floyd, Danny Young, Jeff Williams, Domingo Mota, Sean Mulligan, McDavid. Only one Griffey so far, and Derek White. But saw the big names out of here. Got, I think, parallels of pretty much every one of them, I'm pretty sure. And then Schmidt. Mikey G said, I worked for Toys R Us for 16 years. That's freaking awesome, man. I worked there for, I don't know if I worked there for one day. I guess you wouldn't really call it that. I got hired on a Toys R Us to build bikes and stuff in the back. And then I don't think I went to the orientation for some reason. And then they fired me. So I don't know if I can really say I worked there. That was probably like 2008, maybe. Maybe it was even before that. I can't remember. Kurt Miller, also a Pirates prospect. Darren Bragg. Yeah, the summer of 2008, I think I had 20, it's probably 20 different jobs. I would go for like a day or two, then I'm like, yeah, it's too nice, I don't want to go skate, I'm leaving. Just leave. Not a real good summer for me, but I had money all summer from working a day or two at each place, so it worked out. Mark Zappelli. Dan Cholowski. Mikey G says, I was there, we were Jeffrey Bros. I know when you got fired on your day off. Toys R Us closed down and went around to like 9 different locations and dumpster dove. I found a lot of cool stuff. Lots of neat vintage stuff. A lot of stuff I should have took, but I didn't. Like Nintendo Switch displays and stuff like that. Paul says, is that how you ended up at Best Buy for a while? You know what? Yeah, I think Best Buy is where I landed for like maybe 3 years after that. I worked like everywhere. It's like Papa John's. I worked at TJ Maxx. I don't know how or why, but I worked there for like a day. I worked at all kinds of places. The one place I ran out the back door while I was working, I told the lady I was going to take boxes out and break them down. I just was like, yeah, the hell with this. And I just took off and ran across the parking lot, got my car, and drove out of there and went skating. I was Carlos Delgado, not the autograph, unfortunately. It's got a ding corner anyways. Yep, it was a fun summer because I didn't have to work the entire time like some people did, but Been a long time since I've done that. Delgado twice in one pack. There's Paul Bird. Kilvio Veras ends that pack. Final pack of this rip. It's already over. It's only been 20 minutes. It's not long enough. The phone collector job that you went to the bathroom. Yeah, that was a place called Reese Brothers Telemarketing. I was 16. It was like my second job. And I did real well in the orientation, like the first 2 days or whatever. They're like, "Oh, you're really good at this." And I was like, "Sweet." And then the very first day I was there, like, this sucks because the phone calls just kept coming in nonstop, and you got like one break in like a 6-hour shift for like 7 minutes. As a 16-year-old kid, like that sucks. So I was like, "Can I go to the bathroom?" And they're like, "Yeah, you don't got to ask." And they kind of like chuckled about it, and I was the one chuckling when I ran out the back door and was literally running through a stream down the road, like ripping my dress shirt off, thinking that they were coming looking for me. It was like I was a fugitive. It was great. Dimitri Young shows up. But, interesting story there. Billy Van Landingham again, the fugitive. It was terrible. Jason Beret. I miss KV Toys. Machado hit his 300th home run today. That's pretty awesome. I did not hear that. And once again, they bombard us with 5 freaking checklists. AV says Shawshank. It was definitely like a scene out of the end of Shawshank. It 100% was. I was running through a freaking crick, thinking that they were sending someone after me. It was so awful that I did not ever want to go back there. That is it for that rip. But overall, I think pretty well, though. Saw all the big names. Like I said, Jeter is in the factory sets. You won't be pulling those from packs. But I got a Griffey, foil, a bunch of other ones I didn't put aside. No autograph, unfortunately. But I did get this sweet Brian Taylor red parallel. Like I said, you can usually pick these up for like 20 bucks. I bought this jumbo box for 20 bucks off of some random guy on Marketplace. So it's fun to take a chance and try to pull these rare autos. I do this on like the 15th, middle of the month, every single month. I got a bunch of these boxes stocked up for like 92 score and stuff like that for future rips. But I should hopefully have a weekend recap for you tomorrow. I think it's supposed to rain a bunch. So if I don't, I will have a video on the collection I bought earlier in the week that I had. Still haven't gone through it yet. There's like I think there's a second-year Jordan in there, Fleer sticker. There's a Kobe insert rookie. A Beckett graded insert from, I think it's like an 8.5 or something like that. So a bunch of football and stuff like that I need your guys' help with identifying what the better cards are. So be taking a look at that very soon as well. So thank you guys for watching this video and being here. I appreciate you. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you back tomorrow night. Have a great night, guys.